Hey guys, DJ Ted here. I am going to be touching on slopes today. I have touched on slopes a little bit before, but there's a lot more to slopes than just, sliding down them to gain speed like this. There's a lot more to it than that. So I'm here on the first level of the game called Once Upon a Time, so, just World 1, Level 1, so. There are things with slopes that you don't want to do, and there are some things that you obviously want to do to keep your speed and, keep going fast. So, you might think, the fastest way to go down the slope is to just run and then slide, right? That's something you might think. However, usually, in most cases, sometimes you might as well just slide because you don't have a dash ready, because, dashes do have cooldowns, or spins, anyway. But a faster way to go down this hill is to just spin down it, and then jump right after. And normally what I like to do after spinning down a hill is to roll jump right after. If you watch my last part, you would know what that is. And usually roll jumping off of a sloped hill also gives you a little bit more speed, so doing a dash then roll jump is usually the fastest way to go down any hill. So, while downhills are pretty simple to understand to gain speed and all that, there are some things you shouldn't do when going uphill. So for example, I'm on an uphill slope right now, and if I dash jump, my dash jump speed is actually very low when I spin jump off of a uphill slope like that. Like, it's very, very slow. It's still technically faster than just running up it, but there are some optimizations you can do here. So there's a little bit more flat ground up here. It's not perfectly flat, but it's flat enough. A better thing to do than spin jumping off of a slope surface is to just not dash at all and wait until the flat slope comes, like the not flat slope, but like just the flat ground or flatter ground to come up, because that's faster than just spinning up an uphill section and just missing the flat ground altogether, usually. A better thing to do in this section, specifically if you're going backwards for some reason, but like, if you can ever do this, you might as well do it, is to skip the uphill section by jumping over it. So by that I mean, dash jumping over it and just continuing on going down the downhill section right afterwards, in that particular case. However, there are a few cases where spin jumping up a hill is actually pretty fast. So if you've ever attacked something with a hitbox like these things down here, not hitbox, but like a hurt box, and you can spin through it and do damage to it, you might notice that you can jump right away when you dash through it. If you looked at my inputs on the bottom there, bottom left, I actually dashed and jumped immediately. You normally cannot do this at all. You usually have to wait for the spin animation to last a certain amount of time before you can actually jump out of it. However, if you hurt an enemy, or if you damage anything, like this, whatever this plant is, like a mushroom or something, you can basically jump out of your dash immediately. And since you jump out of your dash immediately, the game doesn't have time to... Well, I assume this is how it works, but the game doesn't have time to check if you're on a uphill slope, so your speed does not decrease while dash jumping on a slope like this. Like that. And now that the sponges on the ground are gone, if I try it again, it's actually pretty slow to do this. So whenever you have an uphill section, you always want to try to just do a quick dash jump, because that's very fast. Last video I told you guys how to row jump like this, and usually you do want to do that. However, if you try doing that on a upslope, you lose a lot of speed. Let me try to better illustrate this. Like that. You lose a lot of speed when you try to row jump up a hill. Unless you're going really fast, it's usually better to not row jump and just do normal jump, or just dash jump up it. Well, mostly just dash jumping, because jumping up a hill normally is also pretty slow, so usually just dash jump up it instead of carrying momentum up using a row jump, because you just lose a lot more speed by jumping up a upward hill than you do just dash jumping up it. So here you are back in Creepy Castle. There's a downward slope right here. After grabbing that TNT up there that you usually get in the N% speed run of this game, you usually end up right about here. And this is a very, very optimal spot to carry speed all the way through to the end of the segments where you have to climb up some more vines. And you can do this segment really, really fast as long as you know what you're doing with the slopes. So without taking advantage of slopes, ultimately this is kind of what it would look like. Just, dash jumping, nothing too crazy. But you might have noticed that there is, right after that downward slope up there is a slope segment right there. So, what you should be doing in this section of this level is, after you get that TNT and ground pound tier, you spin, roll jump, small roll jump, and then here, let me better explain this. Hold on. So after ground pounding that TNT and you end up right about here, you want to dash and then roll jump right after, a small roll jump, not a full roll jump, just a small roll jump, and then you should end up right at the downward slope on that ground right up ahead, and then you just roll into a dash, and then you just keep going like this, like that. Before I said that roll jumping uphill is usually really slow, but that only really counts for like more extreme upward slopes. Here you don't really lose that much speed by roll jumping because the slope isn't that extreme, so you know, roll jumping is fine, especially if you have a lot of speed carried through this part with using this slope and the slope up here as well. You got a lot of speed, you can just roll jump through like that. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics for slopes. There's not really much more to get into. You just gotta know what not to do on slopes and what you really should be trying to go for when you're on a slope. Because, you know, downward sections like this, if I were to go down here, like, there's no point in doing it, but like, as just an example, going down a hill, you always want to try to fit in a dash, because like, that's always really fast to do, is dash, spin down the hill, like that. And again, dashing and spinning, it's the same thing, vocabulary, whatever. It's the same exact thing in this game. So downhill, always dash, and try to roll jump as well. Fit that in there too. And with that, I will go ahead and end this video. If you guys have any questions, be sure to let me know. I'll be sure to get to them whenever I do see them. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Not much more to go over, unless you guys have questions. So yeah, see you guys later.